You know, I don't like starting reviews off with a face and then a groan, because I do that a lot. I'm not going to lie. I do that a lot in movie reviews. But I have to sometimes. There's times where I have to because I want to set the mood for a movie review. Okay, I don't want to set a mood where it sounds like I'm happy at first, like, hey, what's up, guys? Or whatever. Like, I don't. Especially when I just got done watching said film that I'm reviewing and I am not happy. So I don't want to go and put on a happy face, whoa, when I'm not. I'm not happy. So this time I am talking about a Netflix original film called The Open House, starring Dylan. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. The kid from Don't Breathe, and he was also in that 13 Reasons Why show, which I never watched. I heard it was really good though, but I have a huge backlog of TV shows I need to watch. Shit, I have a huge backlog of movies just from last year that I still need to watch. So I shouldn't be watching stuff from this year, but this one I heard was this one was interesting because everybody has been talking about how mediocre or even just straight up bad the movie is, and then the ending is astonishingly bad. That's what I've heard. So I was excited. I was like, you know what? I love me a good bad movie. I do. I love me a bad movie. Even if I come in and I'm like frowny face, like, I appreciate watching bad movies because it makes me appreciate the good ones even more. So watching this one, I was just like, okay, lay it on me. And I'm watching this movie, and about an hour in, I'm like, okay, this has been very slow. Not much has gone on, but I appreciate that they're setting up some kind of a mystery, like what's going on in this open house. And then the ending just says, fuck it. We don't have nothing. We got literally zero ideas on how to end this movie. So you know what? It's over. That's it. We're done. Bye. Like, this is one of the most just not giving a fuck movies I've ever seen, especially when it comes to the ending. The entire movie is set in this open house, unless it's like outside the open house, like literally right outside. Like, you know, the kid is running at one point, he's outside, and it's 90% of the movie is in this open house. Okay, so we don't get too much of the outer world. So we have to be invested in these characters and in this house and the whole mystery behind it. Okay? If you don't know the premise, it's a very simple premise, okay? Dylan, I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm sure someone's going to say, but I think it's Minette. I could be wrong, but let's just call him Dylan. Or Don't Breathe Kid. So anyway, Don't Breathe Kid is living with his family, his mother and his father, and everything seems good. He's a runner. He's a track and field kid, and he's really fast. Whatever. He's having a good life, I guess. Whatever. And then him and his father go to the local like Quick Mart or whatever, and his father gets killed in a car accident. And he decides to be mopey for the rest of the movie. His mom and him have to move out of the city because they can't really afford the house now because the father's dead, and the father didn't really leave much after that because he was poor. So they have to move to this open house, which is actually owned by the sister of the mother. And the sister said, you know what, you can live here, but there's going to be times where you have to get out and let the realtor try to sell the house, of course. But you can live here until it sells, of course. So they go there, and then they go in, and there's weird stuff happening. Oh, his phone's on charge, and then he leaves, comes back, and the phone's gone. Ooh, the mother's trying to take a shower, and the shower keeps getting cold because someone keeps blowing out the pilot light. Ooh, or is it someone? Is it a ghost? Who knows? I don't know. Do you know? If you saw the movie, you do. If you have no imagination whatsoever, then I guess you could figure it out too. It's so lame. This movie is so lame. That's like the perfect description for this. It's lame as hell. I just watched Mom and Dad earlier today, and that movie was very inventive for having a premise that was, you know, I'll bet unique but still simple. You know what I mean? I need to take a swig. Yeah, that's right. So here's a promo shot for Propel. Anyway, so that movie was really inventive and funny and short. It was like 80 minutes long. This movie's short too. It's like 90 minutes long. So I can't say like this is like a 2.5 hour movie. It's not. It's short. Doesn't overstay its welcome, and I have a feeling it's only short because they really ran out of ideas and I had no idea how to wrap this movie up. So they're like, fuck it, whatever, it's over. I can't think of anything else, just screw it. So that movie was a lot of fun, and then just seeing this, and that one was also a horror movie. It was a horror comedy. This one was just straight up horror thriller. This one just like, it just failed on so many levels. I even wrote down some notes here. I even wrote down in my little Zelda book. There you go. You can get these at GameStop. I don't know why I'm promoting all this shit. And I wrote down some notes, but I like about 40 minutes in the movie, I was just like, I got nothing else to write because nothing fucking is happening in this movie. I could have wrote that, I guess. I could have wrote nothing's happening. But literally, these are the notes I wrote because these are the first like 30 minutes of notes here. Okay? The dad dies in the most. I'm sorry. I know some people are gonna say that it's not, but it was like it was a really goofy death. You know, you remember in Amazing Spider-Man 1, I'm talking about Amazing Spider-Man, when Martin Sheen as Uncle Ben died. I was about to say Uncle Phil. I'm not even gonna lie. Uncle Ben dies, but it's in the most goofy way. Like he tries to like pull the gun away from this robber who is like 50 years younger than him and way more physically athletic, and he's trying to pull a gun away and he gets shot. So it was really mainly his fault. It's not like that. It wasn't like it was his main fault, but it reminded me of that death scene. I don't know why. I don't even know why I mentioned it, but it was so goofy. I don't know. It was so goofy. And also had to do with a Quick Mart, I guess, too. So, this is when the scene gets really, like, it really gets into its horror aspects, okay? There's generic shit. Like, you get the creepy neighbor that shows up, and it's creepy. And she's just like, hey, guys, I'm Martha. And, I'm creepy. And she's a whole character. And I will admit, I kind of enjoyed her reveal towards the end of the movie, but that's all I'll say. There's a part where they're driving to their destination in the open house, and the mom looks down real quick while she's driving and looks up, and there's a guy in the middle of the road, and she like swerves out of the way, and then when they look back, he's gone. Was that real? Are they both going crazy? Is it a ghost? Is it a real person? I don't know. I ain't gonna tell you. The big spooky house, when they come up on it, the score gets really creepy and ominous, and they show wide shots of it, like, oh, look at how creepy it is. It's not really not a creepy house. It's actually a nice looking house, especially the interior. So I'll give them credit here. They didn't try to really spooky it up until they get to the basement. And the basement itself looks like a fucking dungeon, which, by the way, I thought that was going to come into play because there's a moment in this movie, about 3 minutes of screen time takes up, I'm sorry, I screwed that up. 3 minutes of screen time is just this, what's his name? Dylan. I forgot the character's name, but Dylan walking through the basement. He might as well just be giving the audience a tour of this basement. Like he's just walking and looking with his flashlight. And he's looking and looking. It's like long hallways, it looks like. And there's one part of the basement that's like it caved in. It looks like it was caved in. So you're like, oh shit, what the hell was that about? Was there like a big tunnel that led somewhere else? Is there something really weird about this this house? I don't know. So they're giving you a big tour of this basement. And the only times it ever really comes into play is when like the mom is taking a shower and the pilot light goes out. So she has to go down there in her towel and turn the pilot light on. She has to do that about 3 times. Actually, sorry. She does that twice, and then the kid has to do it once. So there you go. And also, there's a lot of, like, generic stuff, like fake-out scares. Like, oh, he's dreaming. Oh, jump scare. And he wakes up or something. Or, oh, he sees things, you know? And I guess it's supposed to be because of the trauma of just losing his father, like, a week before this. But it's just generic stuff just to keep people on edge, even though it means nothing towards the end of the movie. Let me just say this. Oh, actually, you know what? I'll get to that in a minute. I do want to do some positives because I know I've been really harsh on it, and I've said it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. At least have I said that yet? It's not the worst thing I've ever seen if I haven't said it yet. But okay, a couple of positives. I think the acting is good. I think the cast is solid. I think that Dylan kid, I think he's going places. He's a good leading man. Even though there's times where he becomes a little bit too mopey for my own good, but I understand he just lost his father. And he's not like that kind of character where they're really mopey, like where you just don't like them at all. And they're just like, oh, I hate everything or something. Like there's times where he has a relationship with his mother that is likable and very mother-son likable, I guess, for a movie. You understand their relationship, and they have they have a really good chemistry. So I'll give it that. I don't know who the actress is that played the mother, but two things: she's really good in this. She has really good chemistry with Dylan, and also she hot. So I know someone's good. Go like, oh, of course you'd say that. I would. But there's also side characters in the movie that are played well by the actors. There's this guy named Chris who shows up, which, by the way, that's my name. So, no, my name isn't actually Gore. Some people think it is. But that's my second name. All right. But he comes in about halfway through the movie, and he becomes like their friend, the mother and son's friend. And you could tell real hard that this guy really wants to get with the mother character, and I don't blame him. And he's a likable character, but he doesn't really do much towards the end of the film. I don't know. It's just there's characters like that. There's a character named Martha who is the creepy neighbor I mentioned before, and like I said, I like her whole reveal towards the end. But everything before that, she's just being creepy. She's doing weird things, and then when you find out why she's doing the creepy stuff, you're like, oh, okay. And I kind of felt bad to think like, ooh, maybe she's the one messing around, because when you find out what's going on, there you go. And yeah, that's all I really wrote down. Like, there was really not much. After that, it was just whatever. So now, I guess, should I talk about anything else before we get to the ending? All right. I should mention this, and this isn't a spoiler, but it's leading to the ending, okay? The movie itself sets up many things as if it would be like a build-up to a mystery revealed. Like, there's a lot of clues that they drop and stuff, or hints towards something that could happen, okay? I won't spoil any of those just in case, but there's some things in there. If you watch the movie, you're like, oh, is this leading to that, or is it leading to this? And then they subtly, or not so subtly, tell you like that's not the case, pretty much. There's one thing I'll talk about in the spoilers, but there's one thing I'm definitely, when I was watching this movie, I was like, oh, it better not be that kind of ending, and it wasn't. But what the ending was actually way worse than any possibilities in my brain. It really was. It was an ending that really felt like they said fuck it. They really did. That's what it feels. It's a fucking ending. It's just whatever. Yeah. So overall, I think the movie itself is lame. I've said this before, but it really is. The word lame was created for movies like this. It really was. It isn't such a lame one. It's generic as all hell. There's long shots of people just walking around, and ooh, there's a guy behind you. Was it really a guy, or was it a ghost? I don't know. Who knows? There's a mystery building up. We'll tell you later on in the movie. There's so many things. Like, it's just like, people walking around. It's the dark. It's dark. That means it's scary, right? Nope. It's just long and boring shots of people walking around. Thanks a lot. And when there are scenes of like the characters talking, like the mom and the son, who are really the only two main characters in this, they are likable enough and you do relate to them, but there's not enough scenes of them talking. There's one scene where they're in a diner and you can tell there's like some bond. There is a bond, like I said, and they completely ruin it towards the end. They really do, because they don't follow up with it with any kind of really exciting or interesting or at least decent conclusion. Now we come to the ending of this movie. Oh, God. Okay. I want to set something up here, okay? I want to paint a picture for the people that haven't seen this movie. Imagine a movie that builds up its conclusion by having little clues to where it may go, little dream sequences where one of the characters or both of the characters are dreaming of something, and then that maybe hints towards where it's going or whatever. And like maybe little clues here and there, just little things, even pieces of dialogue that lead up to you thinking it's going to lead somewhere else. And then it leads a completely different place you never thought it would. That doesn't sound too bad, right? Like, okay, they subverted my expectations. Now we're on somewhere else, Let me ask you this. What happens if the place they subverted your expectations leads to somewhere that is not only completely unsatisfying, but incredibly generic and completely unimaginative? That's this movie. This movie leads us to the most obvious ending of all time that makes the first hour of this movie completely unnecessary. It really does. It really does. When the first hour of the movie has not much going on when it comes to scares, and then the ending just says, screw it, this is it. you don't really get much from the film. Okay, let me just tell you what the ending is, okay? Spoilers again. Now, I'm getting into spoilers. This is big spoilers, okay? The movie builds up, and you're like, okay, what is it going to be? Is it Logan? Is he the crazy guy? If they did that, that would have been unsatisfying too, but it would have definitely been better than what they did. I don't know. Is it the Martha character? Is she messing around? Maybe she doesn't actually have Alzheimer's. Maybe it's this Chris character. Maybe he's just insane, and he's just kind of like trying to worm his way into this family or something like that. Or, I don't know, maybe he's sick. I don't know. Anything. I would have accepted anything else besides it's a dude in the house. It's a guy. I would have accepted better that it was the father that supposedly died at the end, at the beginning of the movie, and he faked his death somehow, some way. I would accept that because at least that would have been so bad that would have been hilarious. At least that. This movie the ending is so bad, it's just nothing. It's really a nothing. I'm not fucking around. It's just a guy. That's it. It's a crazy dude. Which is fine if the movie set it up like that was what it was. Like if the first hour of the movie was like The Strangers, where the strangers are just messing with people. And that's kind of what happens here, but they also build it up to make it look like, oh, it's not actually that. Like it's trying to make it so that it looks like it's something else, you know? But if it was just the guy messing with the family and there was none of that other stuff where it made it look like it was something else, then I would have been okay with the ending. Not loving it, but okay with it. I appreciate that there's an ending that just is so blunt, where it just straight up kills the main character like nothing, like that character's garbage, like it's just another human being. You know, I appreciate that. The Dylan kid gets killed, and he gets killed like in a quick, just matter-of-fact manner. And I appreciate when a movie just says, you know what, this character is a human too, so we're not going to give him a glorious death or let him live if it doesn't make sense if he would live. We're going to kill him. He's dead. There we go. He's dead. That's it. And I would appreciate that if the whole first hour of the movie wasn't, you know, like trying to subvert our expectations and was building up towards it's just a guy. You don't know anything about this guy too. And the end is just like, it's not going to tell you anything. It built up to a sequel real hard. And it was trash. It was a trash ending. It was such a nothing ending. That's why people are really disliking this movie. The first hour and 10 minutes maybe is just like, whatever. And then when you find out what it is, you're just like, okay, so all that stuff that was kind of interesting, the little clues to where it could go, that was all just whatever. The little details about the characters' lives, that's whatever too. Because the ending just focuses on, you know what? I shouldn't say what it reminds me of. There's a movie called The Wall. If you saw The Wall, that's what it reminds me of. The ending, at least. And that movie, I didn't like the ending either. So, but that movie's ending is much better than this one. So that's really it. I mean, it's just a generic horror movie. I mean, you can watch it if you want. It's watchable. I'll give it that. It's not horrible, but it has one of the worst and most blah endings I've ever seen in my life. It's really bad. And I know I'm not describing it that well. You need to see the ending to believe it. And you shouldn't watch the movie, but if you need to, it's on Netflix. You can. I'm warning you right here, you shouldn't. But if you're someone that's like, I don't understand, that ending doesn't sound that bad, watch it for yourself. It's such a dud. It's just like it really did feel like they had no clue how to end it. So they're just like, I don't know, what's textbook horror movie 101? There's a killer, and he's kind of supernatural. Okay, because this guy is just like, he's just like a killing machine. Like he's not doing anything that's like really like Jason-esque. Like he's not throwing the main character through buildings or breaking their necks, which is like a squeeze of his hand or something. But he's doing things that just seem very movie killerish, you know, not real killerish. Not like I've known any real killers, but you know, he's doing things like he's breaking fingers. The mom character gets her fingers broken for really no reason, and then he puts like a knife next to her, knowing she can't pick it up because her hand is broken, even though her other hand is fine. I don't know. Maybe he broke all the fingers. I don't know. Maybe they cut away before showing he broke all the fingers. I don't know. But he's doing other things, like he pours water on the Dylan kid after he knocks him out, and it's freezing out. It's winter, so when he gets up, he's like shivering, so he can barely move. And then he like rips the contact lenses out of the kid's eyes, so he can barely see, and he like pretty much lets him go into the forest. And then he pretty much hunts him. And it's, I mean, that sounds interesting, and it kind of is if they built up this villain character. You know what I mean? Not just like pretty much reveal him at the end of at the end of the 20. I mean, at the end, the last 20 minutes. God damn, I can't speak. I don't know. That's my opinion, though. The open house is lame. That's it. It's not horrible. Again, it's not horrible, but it's lame. It's a solid 4 out of 10. There you go. If I had to give it a score, I would give it like a 16 out of 40. It's 16 out of 40 or 4 out of 10. So there you go. That's both the same scores. So there you go. That's my review for the open house. It was fairly generic. Not the review. Well, the review was probably generic, but the movie itself was, and then it completely peters out and becomes not good. Not good at the end. So anyway, there you go. That's the open house. Thank you. And until next time, goodbye.